Welcome to our next lesson with quadratics. We are now going to cover factoring and solving quadratics when a is not equal to 1. So that is our main goal today, is to factor and solve when a is not equal to 1. But before we dive into that, there is a concept that we have to review, and that is the GCF, also known as the greatest common factor. GCF is the greatest factor that divides out of multiple items. So we're going to practice this real quick. Find and factor out the GCF. So you just have to ask yourself, what can I divide out of both 2x and 8? So we can divide out of both of them a 2. But now what we're going to do is we're going to take this 2, put it in front of our factor, and then inside the parentheses will be what happens after we divide by 2. So we're going to be left with x plus 4. So the number on the outside is our GCF, and the stuff on the inside is what is left over after we divide out the GCF. Now, you can divide out a variable. So let's look here at 6x squared minus 10x. As you can see, both of them have an x, so we're going to bring an x along with us. Now we need a number that we can divide out of 6 and 10, which is going to be 2. So this bottom 2x, that's going to be our outside, and then inside, 6x squared divided by 2x is going to be 3x. 10x divided by 2x is going to be 5. So that is just a refresher on GCF and factoring out the GCF. So now we're going to dive into factoring quadratics when a is not equal to 1. So the standard form of a quadratic function when a is not equal to 1 is ax squared plus bx plus c. As you can see, the only difference from this form and what we did in the prior lesson, there's going to be a number attached to x squared now. That's the only thing that has changed. But because of this number now, we have a slightly longer process for factoring the quadratic. And the process that we're going to be using is called the grouping method. As you can see, there's a lot of steps, but with practice, you will get them down. So the first step is find factors of a times c that give us b. So we are going to multiply a and c and still find what pair that will give us b. Now, those are not going to be the factors that go into our parentheses. No, it's a longer process. So after we find our factored pair, then we replace the middle term, bx, with the two factors found from step 1. So we are rewriting that middle term. Then we're going to group the first two terms and the last two terms with parentheses. Always first two together, last two together. Do not mix and match. Then, step 4, find and factor out the GCF from each group. That's why we practiced up above. And then finally, if parentheses match, pair up the outside factors to form their own factors. Then we're done. You might ask yourself, well, Miss Wood, what happens if they don't match? If they don't match, there was a mess up in a previous step, so you need to backtrack to find the mistake. You know you did steps 1 through 4 correct when these parentheses match. All right, we're going to be practicing this 4 times. So, all right, 3x squared plus 10x plus 8. First thing we do, a times c. So we're going to do 3 times 8 which is 24. Now we find the factors of 24. So we have 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Remember our shortcuts from the previous lesson? When both B and C are positive, the pair will be positive. So now we want a pair that adds up to 10x. So the pair that does that is 4 and 6. Now, we rewrite the middle term. So 3x squared and 8 stay the same, so 3x squared. But now we rewrite 10x with these guys. So this is going to be plus 4x plus 6x plus 8. So again, we're just replacing 10x with 4x plus 6. So now our next step, group the first two and last two together with parentheses. So I'm going to take this, parentheses, parentheses. All right, GCF time. I'm going to cover up this so it doesn't distract us. So 3x squared plus 4x. From 3 and 4, there's no common factor we can take, so we're not taking out a number, but both of them have an x. So we will take out an x, and we're going to be left with 3x plus 4. Now, for 6x and 8, from 6 and 8, we can take out a 2. Since the 8 does not have an x, we will not take an x with us. And then we just divide. We're going to be left with 3x plus 4. Now, check what's inside your parentheses. As you can see, both inside parentheses are the same. 3x plus 4, 3x plus 4. That means we did something right. So when these are the same, pair up the outside as a factor and keep one of the matches. So x plus 2 times 3x plus 4. And we have factored 3x squared plus 10x plus 8. So we are now done. All right, let's do another one. 5x squared minus 2x minus 7. 5 times 7 first. 35. So 1 and 35, 5 and 7. Just like from our little rules in the other lesson, when they're both negative, the big factor is negative. And then which pair adds up to negative 2? 5 and minus 7. So now we rewrite the middle. 5x squared plus 5x minus 7x minus 7. We now put parentheses to group. So GCF of the first, 5x squared plus 5x. We can take out a 5x, and we're going to be left with x plus 1. Now, if your group leads with a negative is going to come out with the GCF. 7 and 7, so negative 7, and we're going to be left with x plus 1. As you can see, our parentheses match, so we pair up the outside. So we're going to be left with 5x minus 7 and x plus 1. Now, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, don't worry. We still have 2 more examples of just factoring we're going to do in the next video before we get to solving.